Super Smash Bros. What is there left to say about the series? It's an incredible series of action platform fighting games, bringing together an overwhelming number of iconic video game series and characters to duke it out in fun, fast-paced multiplayer battles. However, one of the many great things about Smash Bros. Is that, in addition to its multiplayer gameplay, it's almost always had substantial single-player content. Of course, there's Classic Mode, the arcade-style mainstay of the series since the original on the Nintendo 64. There's also been plenty of minigames like Home Run Contests and Break the Targets, challenge modes like Event Mode and Special Orders, and Street Smash! Yeah! But, as most would probably agree, the most intriguing single-player mode in the Super Smash Bros. Series is the Adventure Mode. Now, here's the thing about Adventure Mode. You can't really describe it in a sentence or two since it changes so drastically every time it appears. Like, okay, look at Classic Mode. It's had some major changes to the formula, for better or for worse. But all in all, it still boils down to your typical fighting game arcade gauntlet. Adventure Mode, on the other hand, is a completely different experience in each of the three games in which it appears. It's impossible to describe all three at once, and it's very unlikely that anyone will favor all of them equally. Now, since I find the history of this mode in particular so intriguing, I'd like to do something of a deep dive into each iteration. I want to explore the design of each, the purpose of each, and I want to share my feelings on each. Now, that's the most important part, because I have a hunch my opinions on these modes will differ quite a bit from that of most Smash fans. Hopefully that doesn't cause any problems. Anyway, without further ado, here is an analysis of the Super Smash Bros. Adventure Modes. Even at the time of its release, the original Super Smash Bros., while overall garnering praise, was criticized for one thing in particular: its lackluster single-player offerings. It did have the mode that would eventually become classic, but that was it. So when it came to the game's sequel, more solo modes were an obvious addition. Thus, the original adventure mode in Super Smash Bros. Melee was born. While the now classic mode remained a mostly randomized gauntlet of battles, without much rhyme or reason to any of it, this new adventure mode took a much more cohesive approach. I'd say that in this game, the main difference between classic and adventure is that, while in classic mode you're just sort of being plucked from one match and being put into the next, in adventure mode you're on, well, an adventure as you traverse and fight through each of the represented game worlds. Okay, so that sounds all nice and exciting, but what is the adventure mode actually like? Well, it's a series of both side-scrolling platforming levels and typical battles, all tied together with a very loose, overarching narrative of a journey. For example, you start in the Mushroom Kingdom. You play through a side-scrolling mission that very much feels like a Super Mario level until you reach the castle, at which point you fight Mario and Peach on the roof. You'll also explore a dark dungeon filled with Redeads before facing Zelda, race against F-Zero machines and Big Blue on your way to Captain Falcon, urgently evacuate planet Zebes after defeating Samus, and scale the Icicle Mountain until you encounter the Ice Climbers. Not every fight in series has a corresponding platforming level, mind you, but the ones that are there really help to enforce this sense of actually traveling somewhere, from A to B to C and so on. I love this aspect of the mode. It really makes it feel like I'm exploring the worlds of Smash Bros. To an extent. With these platforming levels, there's another detail that conveys the sense of exploration. The details. Little things like passing by a golf course in the Mushroom Kingdom, or seeing extra tunnels in the Hyrule Labyrinth. These seemingly minor elements are actually a major factor in making these levels actually feel like I'm traveling through the Mushroom Kingdom in Hyrule, rather than just playing through levels themed after Super Mario and The Legend of Zelda. There's two other components that I think really sell this idea of a loose narrative and exploration: the cutscenes and secrets. For the cutscenes, there's not much, and the ones that are there aren't anything crazy. usually just an establishing shot or a character entering the stage, but I think they do add just a bit more to make things feel truly connected. Going from the planet Zebes escape to Dreamland would feel jarring on its own, but just seeing a transitional shot of the camera panning from the exploding planet to the shining pop star is enough for me to get this sense of actually going from one place to another. The secrets present are also a big plus. Things like Luigi showing up instead of Mario if you finish the Mushroom Kingdom level within a certain time frame, or a giant Kirby showing up at Dreamland if the player finishes the previous battle quick enough. These make the worlds feel alive, add replayability to the mode, and, as I alluded to just before, make it really feel like you're exploring. And all in all, this sense of exploration in particular is something really important to me. In something like a fighting game, I just have this thing for these modes that let you traverse the world of the game to some extent. Something that's usually a huge departure from the normal gameplay. That's just what I'm into, and this adventure mode definitely scratches that itch. That doesn't mean I don't have problems with it though. For one, there are a few series that are put into the mode without much rhyme or reason. The one that comes to mind immediately is Pokemon. There isn't a transitional cutscene, level, or anything to lead into or from the rather sudden multi-man battle on Pokemon Stadium. Now, the same could be said for, say, the Donkey Kong battles, but those at least take place right after the Mushroom Kingdom section, which is usually considered the same universe. There's some sort of connection there. With Pokemon, it just comes out of nowhere. Feels very classic mode-y. Some might point out the short length of the mode as another knock against it. It's only about 20 minutes long. However, in the context of this iteration in particular, I actually like this length. It still feels substantial enough at that length, especially given all the aforementioned content in there, but its relative shortness, like the previously mentioned secrets, encourages replayability. Players can enjoy multiple playthroughs with different characters, encountering some different scenarios, and unlock some new collectibles along the way. A somewhat strange criticism I do have for this adventure mode, though, is that it kind of makes Melee's classic mode obsolete. In my opinion, the adventure mode in this game is sort of a way cooler, more fleshed out version of the classic mode idea. Its battles are connected by interesting levels and a loose narrative, while being littered with enough secrets and details to be interesting on repeated playthroughs. Classic mode is just a series of randomized battles without any of that extra content. In spite of these flaws, I really do love this mode for what it is. A short yet substantial journey through Melee's game worlds that is highly replayable and, even with its limitations, is able to live up to the name of adventure. The design, overarching structure, secrets, and attention to detail add up to a great alternative to classic mode, and the typical Smash Bros. Gameplay in general. And for me personally, it delivers just enough of that sense of exploration to satisfy. Now, that wasn't so controversial. It was a generally positive take on a mode that's well received and a game that people love. Sure, maybe I said some less than common things, but no harm done, right? That might change next time, because next time, I'm looking at the Subspace Emissary, and why I don't love it. Oh boy.